Hello and welcome to The Details in the Deal with Christine O'Connell Moore. I'm Christine O'Connell Moore, and I'm very happy to welcome our guest today, Jeff Cook. Jeff is the CEO of Cook Properties in Rochester. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great,
Thanks.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Happy to do so. I know we've been trying to schedule it for a little while, and we got our schedules together. So that's great. If you don't mind, Jeff, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, your background, and maybe how you got into the business?
Sure. Yeah, like you said, my name's Jeff Cook. I'm the CEO of Cook Properties. We are a multi-asset real estate management and development company. We have about 120 employees. We are based in Rochester, New York. Our main headquarters is right by the airport. Our largest asset class is manufactured housing. We're the largest owner and operator, developer in New York State for manufactured housing. We have just over 100 different communities throughout the state, comprised of about 7,200 individual lots or pads. We also own several storage unit facilities, and then a few retail and office properties. So that's kind of the management part of things, and then which we own and manage, of course. And then we are also doing some new development in the multifamily apartment space, which is exciting. It's something newer for us. And then we also are doing quite a bit of subdivision, fee simple development for manufactured housing and for site-built housing. So, but I got into the business, I hate to say it, almost 30 years ago. I bought my first house in 1997. It's funny, we were just talking about where we are, and we're in the spaghetti warehouse. And the gentleman, my friend that used to work at the spaghetti warehouse, lived with me and another friend of mine in my first house. Some people call me the accidental landlord. So I had a house. I was living with my friend who worked at the spaghetti warehouse in Rochester, and another friend from college. And they moved out, and I also didn't want to shoulder the whole mortgage by myself, so I moved back home, and I rented it to a couple of U of R students. It went very well, and I was like, oh well, I guess being a landlord is pretty easy, because prior to yeah, exactly. Prior to then, I had no experience or knowledge about real estate at all. I just graduated from grad school. I was working for a market research company, and I bought a house because it seemed like the right thing to do. So I rented that, and like I said, it went well. So I started buying duplexes and triplexes in the city of Rochester. Eventually, over the course of 4 or 5 years, I got up to about 100 units in the city of Rochester. Got about 15 or 16 different properties. So we got some bigger, 10, 15 unit type buildings. Did that for about 10 years. Fortunately, I sold them all right before the crash of 2008. And then moved into manufactured housing. I was very, I wasn't sure what to expect with manufactured housing. I was very concerned. A lot of my properties in the city were challenged. They were inner city, lower income, a lot of social service residents and payments, and I had a stigma of manufactured housing as it was trailer parks,
right?
And I didn't want to go from the city poor, the urban poor, to the country poor. So that was my stigma on manufactured housing. But the first community I bought was actually just north of here in Sandy Creek, about halfway up towards Watertown. Beautiful community, 55 plus, all mostly double section homes. It was built in the 90s. And I bought it, kind of just not really knowing what I was getting into, and I loved it. Within 6 months, I was like, "Oh, this is great!" Everyone takes care of their own yard, their own driveway. They take care of their home, and then it also came with 40 storage units. And so, kind of like what I did with the apartments, I went head first and would figure it out along the way, and just started buying more and more communities. Throughout the state, and now we're up to 100. We're up to just over 100 communities, and we're certainly having a good time and enjoying every minute of it.
Oh, that's really important to be having a good time. Business is hard, so if you can have a good time as much as possible, it
Agreed.
definitely helps.
Agreed.
I think a lot of people who aren't in business think that, oh, there's a grand business plan, and we're going to grow this way, and we're going to do this percentage per year, and here's my next 10 years. But so often it really just evolves, and it sounds like that's how your business started. At a minimum, was evolution.
Yeah, it's definitely not a straight line. I mean, you definitely want to be going up and continuing to grow and expand. But some years you don't, or you don't grow as quickly as you would expect to.
Sure.
We about 4 years or so ago, I hired 3 or 4 people that are still on our leadership team. And my goal was to get up to, I wanted to be 10,000 pads. And right after we bought a large portfolio of about 2,200 pads, and we closed on that. And while we were in the closing process, rates started to inch up, sometimes quicker some days and sometimes slower some days. But when we went under contract, the prevailing interest rate, we were at 3.3. Wow. And when we finally closed 6 months later, we were at 4.4. And the rates just kept, I mean, even 4.4 now, that we would kill for that rate. Yeah, we would kill for that rate. Yeah. So rates just continue to go up, and our acquisition pipeline just shut right down. Mm-hmm. So we're still at we've bought a few communities, but we're still right around 7,200 pads. So yeah, you have to zigzag, and like you said, there's no. You can have a blueprint, and you certainly have to plan, but you don't really know which way it's going to go. And as you mentioned, being successful in real estate or any other business or life is being able to adapt quickly to changes.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of Ina Garten, the Barefoot Contessa.
Okay.
And she says that you have to be ready when the luck comes. So when the opportunities are there, you have to be prepared for them. Yeah. And so you're really not lucky. It's just you're prepared for the timing. Yeah. And that's important.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes is, luck is when opportunity meets preparedness.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. Same sort of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
I know that you're really proud of the culture of your company, of Cook Properties. Can you share a little bit about what your culture is and why you think it makes a difference?
Sure. So we are, I feel like you said, very strongly about culture and about, valuing people. Like I said, we have 120 employees. We have, 7,200 pads, a couple thousand storage units. We serve over 15,000 residents just in our communities on a daily basis. I certainly can't do that alone. So we need our people, and they're really the ones that make it work. Obviously, our assets are real property, and they're hard assets, and they're not going anywhere. But they need to be maintained and managed, and we have a really, really great team that everyone contributes, and it's. Our company really, I like to think, reflects me, my personality, my character. Another good quote, and I'm going to butcher it, is the leadership brings the weather to the organization, and I'm very cognizant of my behavior and my attitude, because I know it affects other people. When things aren't going well, there are certain people in the company that I can vent to, but all in all, it's most times everything's going well, even if it maybe is not going super well all the time. But getting back to culture, we do a lot of things that promote our employees, that we always try to promote from within. Of course, we always look first internally for any type of new position or to fill a vacant position. We have a process that we call Spark, and that rewards employees for just doing outstanding work, just in their normal daily activities. I love it when people go above and beyond what their job description is. On the flip side, if someone says that's not my job, they're gonna hear from me, and it's not gonna be a happy.
Right.
Jeff's not gonna be very happy if someone says that, because we do want people pitching in.
Sure.
There's teamwork. It makes it work. There's many a times where, I'll come into the office, or at some point, and there's snow on the ground, and our CFO is out shoveling snow, and certainly not the best use of his time, but it needs to be done, and that's what needs to be done at the time. We usually have like 2 or 3 cookouts every summer at the office, just to take a break and enjoy the nice weather that we have here in the summer. We do a company picnic in August. We usually do. We've opted to not have holiday parties because everyone's so busy during the holidays.
Sure.
So we past few years we've done a bowling party in late February, and that's always really well attended. And it's bowling is a great equalizer.
Yes.
Because my CFO notwithstanding, everyone else on the leadership team is pretty poor bowlers, and then we have some really good bowlers that are not on the leadership team. So that's a lot of fun. But yeah, culture is super important. One last thing I'll say about culture is that we have had several, and when I say several, probably 5 or 6 employees that have quit for other opportunities, and they've come back to us. And the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and we our turnover, even with our maintenance staff, which is sometimes turnover is sometimes a challenging aspect of people working in that area. We don't have a lot of turnover. We treat our guys and our ladies, very well, very competitive pay and really good benefits. So.
Fantastic. I have to say, whenever I've been to your office, I know you're dog friendly too.
We are very much so.
So and I'm a dog person, so I had to throw that in.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we always have dogs in the office. It's if you walk around if you walk around the building, you'll see probably half of the offices everyone has a doggy gate in their door so they can keep the dogs contained. Otherwise, we'd have somewhat of a zoo. So
sure,
which would be fun, but also could be a little dangerous at the same time. So,
but I would also think that people are not running out of the office at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon to go home to their dogs if their dog is with them.
Correct.
So that's kind of nice.
Yep. But at the same time, Christine, we're also if people are working more than 40 hours a week on a continual basis, then we have a staffing issue, which we'll nip in the bud right away. So.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, I just think petting a dog or a cat is very comforting, and business can be stressful.
For sure.
Yes.
Yep.
So good for you.
Yep.
That's great.
No, we love it. I have 2 dogs myself, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good. So let's talk about the manufactured housing business.
Okay.
I know that's one of your primary businesses, and I think there's a lot of misconceptions about it. I think sometimes people see a single mobile home, a manufactured home, sitting on a land, and then there's big communities, and I know the communities are what you focus on. Could you talk a little bit about your communities, and also maybe the difference between the resident owning the pad and not owning the pad, and owning the home and not owning the home?
Sure. So manufactured housing, that's been our business since 2008. So for about 20 years, we obviously love it. I think it's a really good. I like to call it a really good hybrid option for home ownership because. About 85 to 90% of our pads are owned by, and homes are owned by the residents. The other, 10-ish% are owned by us via be it rentals or, homes that we take back through eviction, abandonment, et cetera. But we really encourage and we really strive to have full home ownership, have the residents own their own homes. The reason being is there's more skin in the game. They're a better resident. They on average they pay their rent better. They're just more. They're better. They're better residents. They're better citizens because they own their home. Mm-hmm. Not really any different than in a subdivision or on a city block. In general, on average, your homeowners are going to be better citizens, better taxpayers than renters. Just again, on average. So manufactured housing is we're obviously super bullish on it. We are doing subdivisions. We are working on some new land-lease communities, developing new land-lease communities also. But our main focus has been on the subdivisions. And again, just getting back to the hybrid nature of manufactured housing communities. it's really nice for anyone who doesn't want to spend a fortune on a home. A new manufactured home can generally be about $100 to $150 per square foot, whereas a brand new site built home, you're going to be $250 to $300 per square foot. We own in the land lease community. We own the land. The homeowner pays us lot rent, but that generally includes taxes, common area maintenance. We take care of the roads, the common area lawns. We take care of the common utilities, the utility mains. So if there's any big capital expenditure requirements, that's something that we're taking care of. Whereas if a homeowner, like you said, was on their own piece of land or in a fee simple subdivision, if any of that stuff were to happen, and then of course the homeowner would be responsible for it. They could have a water main break outside their house, and all of a sudden they got to run a new water line to the main line in the street. That could be an easy $5,000 to $10,000 repair.
Right.
And a lot of residents and homeowners don't have that kind of money. So we obviously have appropriate reserves to take care of those take care of those repairs.
So this is really a part of the solution to our affordable housing crises in upstate New York.
It really is. It really is. Like I said, our costs are generally about half of what it is for a site-built home. In addition to the much more reasonable cost, is how quickly we can have homes ready to go. If we have a lot that's ready to go, we can have a home. We shoot for 60 days to have that home ready, and it could be occupied. Sometimes it takes a little longer. Oftentimes we're waiting on the utilities to get hooked up. But yeah, we can have someone in there within 60 to 90 days, which for a site built home, you're generally looking 9 to 12 months,
right.
if not more. So yeah, it's a great. We like to call it it's one of the above solutions. We like I said, we're certainly bullish on manufactured housing, but we still think that site built, stick built housing, apartments, modular housing. Anything that can be used for housing is important to help with this crisis that we're facing.
How many of your properties approximately are senior communities?
So we have one designated senior community. So in New York State, you have to have there's certain requirements to be designated 55 plus. So you can I hate to use the word discriminate, but so you can discriminate against people that aren't 55 years of age or older.
Right.
You have to have planned activities, a clubhouse. I believe that's it. We do have several communities that aren't designated 55 plus, but they just have kind of morphed into that. And for the most part, families don't like to be in those types of communities because there's not other families.
Right.
Parents want their kids to be with other kids, not seniors. So,
of course.
And vice versa.
My maternal grandparents lived in a senior community in Central Square in their later years, and I can't tell you how nice it was. They had a double wide, if you can still use that expression, I'm not sure, double wide manufactured home, a very nice patio, very nice garage. And the neighbors were fabulous, and they each took care of each other.
Yep.
My grandfather was in the hospital, and the neighbor came over and mowed his lawn, and vice versa. And we, even though they were 30 or 35 minutes away from where we lived, we felt comfortable knowing there were people there who could help out. And I really admired the community and the neighbors, and people really did watch out for each other, which was nice. So I'm sure you look for that.
Yeah, that is great. Yeah, we find that all the time, not only in the senior communities, but also any type of a neighborhood. The residents tend to look out for each other. So
that's great. But they take pride in ownership and tenancy there.
That's our goal. Yep.
Yeah,
that's
goal. Fabulous.
Yep.
Yes. So I know that you have a new project in Rochester that you're working on, Marketplace Heights, which I know has been supported by some of the new laws that have passed in the state. I'm wondering if you could talk about Marketplace and the fact that it's in the city of Rochester. So you're kind of going back, right?
Yeah, life goes full circle, right?
Right.
Yeah, so we're bringing new manufactured housing into the city of Rochester. The city had an RFP last fall, I believe, for 9 city lots in 3 separate locations throughout the city. We're proud to say that we won all 9 lots. There was multiple submissions to the RFP, but we did win all 9. So we're going to be placing double section homes on these 9 lots, priced in the neighborhood of $160,000 to $175,000, which will be about the same as what a homeowner, or rather a tenant, would be paying on a monthly basis in rent. But with owning a home, of course, they'll be building equity. They'll have, like we were talking about earlier, they'll have skin in the game. We're hoping that we can transform some neighborhoods. Really, this is a proof of concept for the city of Rochester. We're assuming and expect it to be very, very successful. These 9 homes will be we'll be placing them on spec. There's no cost to the city or to the taxpayer. If we don't make any money, it's on our nickel. If we do, which we're really not expecting to make a whole lot, and then so be it. But again, we just want to show that we can do it and that we can sell the homes quickly. We're also working very diligently to do the same thing and something similar in the city of Buffalo and here in Syracuse, actually, too.
Oh,
So,
great.
yep.
Oh, good. Well, maybe we can talk about that
Yeah.
when you get closer on the Syracuse one. We'll have you
course.
back to
Of
talk about
course.
it. That'd be fabulous. So in the city now, who will be responsible for the lawn and maintenance and exteriors, that sort of thing?
Yep. So these will be a pure fee simple, be sold on a pure fee simple basis. So the homeowner will own the home and the lot and the land. So
just like buying any house in the city.
yep. The homeowner is going to be responsible for everything. Just like a normal home.
Mm-hmm. And will there be income requirements?
No.
Okay.
No. So we're going to be pure market rate, market based. A lot of times we get people asking us, well, what are you going to do about like delayed negotiations and stuff like that? And for these 9, we're going to do. We're not going to get involved in that. It's just going to be a first come first served basis. We want to do more lots, of course, in the city of Rochester, and we're hoping that that's where this leads. But at the same time, we'll do more spec homes, but we also hoping that potential homeowners will come to us and say, hey, what if I buy a lot here, or I have a lot over here? Can you build us a home? Mm-hmm. So we're hoping that happens too. So with that too, also residents, prospective residents, will be able to customize their home to however they want to have it finished.
Oh, that sounds fabulous.
Yeah.
And it seems like this will help the aging infrastructure in Rochester, the housing infrastructure in Rochester,
Agreed.
which, like all cities in upstate New York, is definitely aging.
Yeah. Which is why we want to do it all up and down the throughway. So.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, the Thruway is really a wonderful tool for expansion.
It is.
I've done that in my own businesses, and it just makes it easy to hit the big cities along the way.
Yep. Yeah, it's easy to get back and forth.
Absolutely, yes. So I know that there's been some changing regulations in the housing industry, both on a statewide and really local too, because I'm sure the city of Rochester had to look at their rules for housing when you proposed Marketplace, or they proposed it.
Yep.
And also federally, there's been some changes. Could you share some of the information regarding those?
Yeah. So one of the new laws that Governor Hochul recently signed at the end of last year, end of 25. Speaking of which, Governor Hochul has been extremely supportive of manufactured housing. I believe she's allocated over $100 million to manufactured housing, which is great and relatively new source of funding for homeowners to get into manufactured housing. But one of the difficulties with manufactured housing prior to Governor Hochul signing this bill that I'm going to tell you about is manufactured homes were always considered personal property or chattel property, even if they were on their own land. So if a homeowner owned their land and they placed a manufactured home on that piece of property that they owned, the home was still considered personal property, and it was bifurcated. The resident or the homeowner owned the land; it was real property, but the home was not considered real property.
Right.
This bill changed that Governor Hochul signed. So now, once the manufactured home is affixed to the real property, it does become real property. And what's that may seem like not a big deal, but what's great about it is now the prospective homeowners can get traditional financing. They can get a 30-year mortgage. They can get a competitive interest rate. They can get traditional, down payment terms. Whereas prior to that, when it was all based on chattel funding, generally the most they could go would be a 20-year amortization, which makes a huge difference to go from 20 to 30. Rates were anywhere from 2 to 3 points higher than market rates, and down payments were sometimes more significant than they are with a traditional housing. So that's been very helpful. It's just a great thing, and we're very appreciative and applaud the governor for signing something like that for the industry.
If I recall correctly, with my grandparents, the title was almost like a car form, or car title, really,
Yep.
right? And it wasn't like a traditional deed would be.
Correct.
And so this makes a difference in how people perceive it too.
Yeah. So right now it's the comment period because the DMV is still involved with titling manufactured homes. So the process, the exact process is still being sorted out. The law is expected to go into effect here at the end of 26. She signed it at the end of 25. DMV is working through the process to, do whatever government agencies do to figure out how things work. So my understanding is what they'll be doing is once that home is placed on the property and affixed to the land, the homeowner will submit their title. Again, I think it's to the DMV, which will then be transferred as part of the deed.
Great. So then the county will handle it like they normally would.
Correct. Yep. So,
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
I know there's some things happening on the federal level also.
Yeah, there is quite a few things. They just signed a brand new bill. One of the key aspects, in my opinion, is that now HUD, Housing and Urban Development, which oversees manufactured housing for the country, is allowing manufactured homes to be two-story. Oh. And how they're going to go two-story now is as we know, manufactured homes are delivered. They're built in a factory in a controlled environment, and then they're delivered via chassis. So there's the chassis underneath the home is not only the support for the home, but also the delivery mechanism. So in order to go two stories, they have to remove the chassis, and so that's what HUD figured out, and Congress agreed to. So that literally just passed. We think it's probably going to be another 18-ish months, maybe 24 months before that's in practice. But that's exciting because now manufactured housing can further compete with site-built, but also with modular housing, which of course can go multiple stories. Manufactured will only be able to go 2 stories, but again, that's a common disadvantage that we hear from residents is, well, what if I want 2 floors? And up to this point, we couldn't accommodate that.
Right. And this allows them to have more bedrooms if needed and also use less land.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And one of the things that, we run across on a daily basis is the cost of construction and infrastructure, roads, utilities are just so expensive, Christine. Right. I mean, we generally high level budget is $1,000 a foot for a double loaded road. With homes on both sides, and that's for your road and your utility mains. I mean, this table here, you're talking, $4,000, and
right.
I mean, it's a table. It's the length of a table,
and it's nothing.
It's nothing.
It's nothing.
So
right.
the ability to go 2 stories just helps us, like you said, get greater density, and help with the cost of construction, which of course gets funneled down to the homeowner.
So you could really double your square footage without doubling your infrastructure costs.
Correct. With the same width lot.
Yes, that sounds fantastic. Yeah, and that also provides some diversity to what the communities look like. Also, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
That's important. I think most people don't want to be in a cookie cutter.
No, not at all.
Situation.
Not at all. Yep. And one of the things that we do with our developments is we're simple things like cost a little bit more money, but like curving the roads. Obviously the most efficient, least expensive road is one that goes straight. Curves are more expensive, but again, it helps with the aesthetics and it helps with people just to feel more homey. So the 2-story aspect is very exciting, and I hope we can start doing that hopefully by maybe late 27.
So maybe as you develop the properties along the thruway, you'll be able to have different ones in different cities.
That'd be great. I mean, the two-story would obviously go really, really well anywhere, but especially in the city.
Sure, it would fit into neighborhoods in a more traditional way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, that's exciting.
Very.
Yes. And I know lobbyists are important to industries. I've worked with them in several different industries. And you told me that you have a lobbyist that you work with.
We do. Yeah. So we hired O'Donnell and Associates last January of 25. January 25, January 24. It's been a couple of years. Our main person is Mark Cohen. He's wonderful. He's a young guy, so I like to say that his Rolodex is about as big as a Ferris wheel. The only problem is he doesn't know what a Rolodex is because he's in his early 30s.
Right.
Unlike
What's
me and
that?
you.
Right,
Yeah.
yes.
What's a Rolodex?
I still have mine.
but Mark is great. He knows a ton of people, and more importantly, he's very strategic in helping us to get things done that we need to get done. As you know, being in real estate, it's very difficult to get properties rezoned, get things built, get things developed. That's why everyone's not doing it. It's
Right.
very difficult and very, very costly and very time consuming. And Mark is just another person who's at our leadership table, helping us to get things done.
I think it's important to reinvest in your industry,
Agreed.
in both from a community point of view and to be honest, as a good business point of view.
For sure. And, again, Mark has been wonderful. We're also members of the New York Housing Association, which does a wonderful job of representing the whole industry, not only manufactured home retailers, but community owners and manufacturers. And we just felt like we needed something more. We needed someone, given our size and our stature, just to represent us and only think about us. So yeah, I think, and it's good for the industry and it's good for the NYHA that we do have our own lobbyists, because probably 90% of our interests are aligned with the New York Housing Association. So they get some free benefits.
Good. Well,
Yeah.
that's good. And again, you're supporting the community that supports
For
you.
sure. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, before we close up, let's talk a little bit about your diverse real estate holdings
Sure.
and your company. I know that you have commercial units, storage units, and it looks like you have some new development going on too in multi-housing. So could you share some of that with us?
Sure. Yeah. So as we've been talking mostly about manufactured housing, that's our largest asset class. We do have about 2,000 storage units, mostly around the Rochester area, a couple in Buffalo. We like storage. It's been a little flat for us recently, primarily because of the housing, the challenges that we're facing in housing. A lot of our business, locally and nationally, is dependent on people moving. And there just has not been a lot of home housing movement, housing transfers, which has hurt our storage unit business a little bit.
Sure.
But we're doing okay. We're managing. We also have, like you said, some multifamily development. We have about a 650 unit project. We're just about ready to break ground. We've been ready to break ground in Canandaigua.
Great.
And we've ran into some utility issues that we're trying to work through right now. There's RG&E just doesn't have enough electricity at the site. So again, we're working on that to get through that so we can break ground.
And what kind of apartments will they be?
Yeah, so those are going to be split equally between single-family homes for sale, townhomes for sale, and then traditional apartments.
Oh, so 650 units altogether.
Correct. Yeah.
That's great.
Yep. Yeah.
It's a good market.
It's a 100-acre site right north of the city. Still an easy 35-minute commute to downtown Rochester. So then we have another one a little further down the street, about 25 minutes from downtown Rochester, in Farmington. Mm-hmm. That one's on the corner of 332 and 41, and that's about a 400-unit development. Similar mixed-use components. It's going to have some single-family homes, about 40, very small storage facility, and let's see, 150. One thing I really like is a 150-unit senior apartment building, which is sorely needed.
Yes.
It'll be 55 plus. It won't be. we won't provide any medical care. Now, if a resident wants to have an aide or what have you, they certainly can do that. Then we're also going to have about 200 traditional townhome apartments. Those will be for rent. And then we also have 5 commercial pad sites on 332, which we're very excited about that.
It's very diverse.
Very diverse, yeah. It's a 70-acre site. It's right there in between Farmington and Canandaigua. We think it's going to be a really great project, great location.
I think people really like to live in communities today where they can walk to things,
Yes.
and they they don't always have to get into their cars.
I agree. Yeah, we're hoping the commercial. We're planning to have the commercial sites. There'll probably be a couple quick service restaurant QSRs, but we're also hoping to have a couple of more like mom and pop type restaurants. Excuse me, maybe like a small plaza. That might have like three or four small, 1,000, 1,500 square foot units that might be like a little restaurant, typical plaza stuff, nail salon, a barber, what have you. So.
Oh, that sounds fabulous! Yeah. And that the eastern suburbs in Rochester are very popular, and again, it's easy to get into the city of Rochester, or even to Geneva or to Syracuse if you have to.
It really is. We're both of those developments, the one in Canandaigua, we're 7-8 minutes from the thruway, and the one in Farmington is 5.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, that's one of the real advantages to our area.
It is. Yeah. Easy commute.
Great.
Yeah.
Anything else you're working on that you want to talk about?
Probably the other thing we were talking about, the QSRs and stuff that we've gotten into recently is we bought a piece of property on Jefferson Road in Monroe County, which is the main thoroughfare for retail. If you're a national retailer, you want to be on Jefferson Road in Henrietta.
Right, 96? Route 96?
252.
252.
Yep,
okay.
Jefferson Road. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All your big retailers are there.
Sure.
And so we bought a piece of land. It was small, about just under 3 acres, on spec. And I was kind of like, it was a good enough deal. I was like, we figured we could carry it. So we have one tenant so far. We have a 7 brew that's going to be moving in. They're going to be actually they're there. They're going to be opening up in probably about a month. So 7 brew does drive-through coffee and smoothies. What's cool about that is their building is a modular building. It's built in a factory and it's dropped on site via a crane. So that's pretty cool. And then we still have another 4,500 square feet that would be available for 1 or 2 more tenants. One of which could be another drive-through. So that's been very exciting. It's something that we haven't done in the past, and it's we're certainly learning a lot on the commercial retail development process. But like I said earlier, it's a lot of fun. So.
That's great. I really do like the diversity of your company, and it's as they say, you don't have all your eggs in one basket.
No.
But the manufactured homes, manufactured other businesses, people are doing that in the hotel business today. Bringing in each room is brought in individually, or maybe a block of them, and so it's really changed a lot from what it used to be.
Yeah, it's amazing what they can do in a factory now.
Yes.
It's not only is for housing, but for one of the things I like to say about manufactured housing is people they question why is it so inexpensive, and my response is, well, it's built in a factory in a very controlled environment using very strict tolerances, with a lot of scale on supplies and ordering. But everything that we use for the most part is built in a factory these days.
Right.
You wouldn't go down to your local car mechanic and say, hey, can you build me a brand new car? It just wouldn't make sense. He could probably do it, but it's going to cost you $400,000.
Sure.
If you go to GM, you can probably get the same thing for $70. But with hotels, that's another aspect of modular housing that is extremely attractive because because hotel rooms are cookie cutter.
Right.
And as you mentioned, the modules, they're built in a factory. They come in on a flatbed trailer, and they pop them in place just like Legos with a crane. So it's a very efficient way to build.
It's almost a plug and play.
Totally. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and then again, they can go up much faster.
Very fast. Yep. Yep. They can get weather tight real quick. And
yes.
And you with manufactured or with modular, any type of modular construction, what's nice is that you can be doing the site work while they're building your home or your modules in the factory.
Right.
So as soon as that last piece of concrete is laid for your foundation, your module or home can be set set the next day. Whereas with site work, you can't even think about building your home until your site work is done.
Right, and it's so weather dependent too.
So weather dependent. Yep.
Yes, so that's another exciting aspect of it.
Yep. It's always sunny and 70 degrees in the factory.
Well, the controlled environment too, and finishes and all of that. And
Yep.
we've all experienced real estate where the weather hasn't allowed something to finish properly, and they might look good day one, but it's not going to look good in a couple of years.
Yeah, things get damaged,
Right.
things get stolen. It's just a great way to build.
Yes. Oh, that's good. Well, I think this is a good way to end our conversation today. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us, and I'll look forward to having you back when you do your Syracuse project and the things further along on the Thruway. We can talk about those again.
Yeah, that'd be great. Maybe late 26 or early 27.
It's going to come up sooner than we think.
I know.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Christine.